this video, we're going to talk about 1.3, Objective 1, where we define concepts related to specific aspects of statistical studies. Our first question here asks us to define variable, variables of interest, explanatory variable, and response variable, and how are the explanatory and response variables related to each other. So first, let's define variable. A variable is any item or quantity that can vary or take on different values. So that's D. Let's define now variables of interest, and they are the items or quantities that the study seeks to measure in a statistical study. So that's also D. Now let's define an explanatory variable, and that is a variable that may explain or cause the effect. It's also D. And let's define the response variable. That's a variable that responds to changes in the explanatory variable. It's also D. How are the explanatory and response variables related to each other? The explanatory variable may cause the response variable to change. So that's also D. All right, let's look at question 2. What is confounding? As an example, explain how confounding might occur in this study that we're going to talk about. A medical researcher chooses a group of middle school students for a study that seeks to measure the effectiveness of a behavioral treatment intended to help teenagers and young adults overcome a vaping habit. So, what is confounding? Confounding is the mixing of effects from different factors so that the effects from the specific factors being studied cannot be determined. So that's A. And how would confounding affect the study in the example? The middle school students may be subject to behavioral pressures due to their ages, different from those of older teenagers or young adults. So results from them may not be generally applicable to older groups. So that would be A. Then what is a placebo and why is it important in an experiment to test the effectiveness of a drug? A placebo is physically similar to a treatment, but it lacks the active ingredients, so it should not by itself produce any effects. So that's A. And why is it important in an experiment to test the effectiveness of a drug? A placebo is important so that results from subjects given a treatment can be compared with the results from subjects given a placebo. Let's see. And what is blinding and why is it important in an experiment that is testing the effectiveness of a drug? So blinding is the practice whereby participants and or experimenters do not know who belongs to the treatment group and who belongs to the control group. So that's C. And why is blinding important to the experiment, to an experiment that is testing the effectiveness of a drug? It is important to use blinding for participants so that they are not affected by the knowledge that they are receiving the real drug. And it is important to use it for experiments so that they can evaluate results objectively instead of being influenced by knowledge about who is getting the real drug. So that's B. All right, that's it for this video. We'll come back next time and talk about 1.3 Objective 2. See you for the next video.